Welcome to this explainer. Let me ask you something right off the bat. Have you ever met someone who just absolutely lights up when a teammate finally nails a new skill? Or maybe you know someone who seems, I don't know, uniquely wired to spot raw talent and just naturally nurture it? Well, today we're unpacking a really fascinating psychological profile to figure out exactly what makes a developer tick within a team. We're going to break down how they operate, what fuels them, and where they might, accidentally trip themselves up. It's a genuinely wonderful trait, and getting to the core of it, it's absolutely going to change how you view your collaborative relationships. So let's dive right in. A parent's patience with a baby learning to walk. I love this. This brilliant, emotional metaphor perfectly captures the highly encouraging, incredibly supportive essence of the developer profile. Just think about it for a second. A parent doesn't get angry when a baby falls down, right? They understand that growth takes time, it takes a lot of repetition, and honestly, it takes unwavering belief. Developers, they bring that exact same energy to the workplace. They are entirely willing to walk alongside people through the messy, often super slow and repetitive process of real growth. So, what are we actually talking about here? Well, by definition, a developer is someone who naturally sees potential in others and is energized by helping them improve, mature, and gain confidence. I really want you to focus on that word energized. For a developer, this isn't just some assigned task from HR, it's a profound source of fuel. They're essentially patient investors in people. While the rest of us might get a bit frustrated with someone's steep learning curve, the developer is the one finding genuine fulfillment in just noticing those tiny incremental steps of progress, guiding that person toward becoming their absolute best self. To really dig into this, we're using the SwitchOn Strengths framework. It's basically a roadmap for discovering, activating, and ultimately thriving using our natural talents. It gives us this fantastic lens to dissect the developer profile completely, to see how these individuals operate, how they thrive, and how they occasionally stumble. We're moving beyond just what they do and really getting into the why behind it all. So, here's our quick roadmap for today. First, the core developer traits. Then we'll look at their contributions and core needs. Third, we'll explore the balcony and the basement. And finally, we'll contrast this with a few other strengths. All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the core developer traits. Because their communication style is just so incredibly observant, developers naturally fall into these vital support roles. We're talking coach, mentor, or encourager. They're kind of like the unofficial workplace therapists. They aren't just there to bark about deadlines or push administrative tasks. They naturally steer conversations toward opportunities for learning. They're deeply invested in people, always looking to build an environment where others feel totally supported to take risks and grow. They are literally the ones pulling you aside after a tough meeting to tell you, hey, you handled that really well. Moving right along to Section 2, contributions and core needs. Just think about your own team for a second. The value a developer brings is just huge. They spot potential way before it's obvious to anyone else. They encourage growth, and they have this unbelievable patience. They are relentlessly committed to helping people succeed. But honestly, the real game changer here is their ability to celebrate progress. When everyone else is just tapping their foot waiting for the final product, the developer is the one actively praising the day-to-day improvements. And let me tell you, that alone builds incredible team morale and psychological safety. But here's the catch. For them to keep pouring all that good energy into a team, they have some very specific core needs. They absolutely must have people to mentor or invest in. If you isolate them from human interaction, they'll just wither. They need the freedom to coach and support without someone breathing down their neck. And this is crucial. They need mentors and coaches for their own growth too. A developer who's constantly pouring from their cup but never having their own potential recognized is gonna burn out, plain and simple. They need that investment returned to them. Okay, that brings us to Section 3, the balcony and basement. This is where it gets super interesting. There's this really fine line between a beautifully managed strength, which we call the balcony, and the totally unmanaged struggle, which is the basement. Up on the balcony, developers are perfectly patient, they walk the extra mile, they help people grow steadily. It's a total superpower. But when they overuse it, down to the basement they go. They start struggling with healthy boundaries. Walking the extra mile suddenly turns into becoming wildly overcommitted to everyone else's problems. And helping people grow. That can quickly warp into having totally unrealistic expectations, and they end up taking personal responsibility for someone else's outcomes. And man, this leads straight into a massive, super common blind spot, trying to develop people who just aren't ready. If you've ever felt completely emotionally drained at work, like you're essentially watering dead plants, you might be hitting this exact wall. Because developers naturally invest so deeply, they can actually neglect their own personal growth to focus on someone who simply doesn't want to be coached. You can inadvertently hit the brakes on your own progress and the team's progress by over-focusing on a colleague who honestly just wants to be left alone to do their job. Let's wrap things up with Section 4, contrasting with other strengths. To really lock this in, let's compare it. A developer says, I notice and promote growth in others. But a maximizer? They say, I notice and promote excellence. It's a subtle shift, but it shows entirely different core motivations. A maximizer is strictly driven by outcomes and high standards, taking something good and making it superb. A developer, though, is motivated by the long game. They're perfectly happy starting from scratch with a total amateur as long as there's a trajectory of steady learning. To them, the journey of improvement is just as valuable as the final standard of excellence.
Or how about this contrast? The developer is interested in getting people done, while an achiever is interested in getting work done. Think about that. Compared to an achiever who just wants to execute tasks, cross items off a list, and hit the objective at all costs, a developer is fundamentally interested in cultivating the actual human beings doing the work. For a developer, sure, finishing the project is great, but the real victory, the ultimate win, is who the team members became while they were completing it.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a question to really chew on regarding your own workplace dynamics. Are you carrying the responsibility for someone else's growth just a little too personally? Look, if you have developer traits, your patient investment is a beautiful, absolutely necessary gift to any team. But remember, you can walk alongside them, but you cannot walk the path for them. Keep encouraging, definitely keep celebrating those small wins, but always, always protect your own boundaries. Thanks so much for joining me today to explore the developer profile, and as always, keep learning,